A goal-based engagement approach is a structured stewardship process in which investors establish specific objectives, develop engagement strategies, implement targeted actions, and evaluate outcomes over time. Unlike general dialogue with companies, goal-based engagement focuses on achieving measurable improvements in corporate behavior, governance practices, risk management, or ESG performance. The approach begins with identifying material issues that could affect long-term value creation and determining the desired change. Investors then develop engagement plans that align with investment objectives, stewardship responsibilities, and stakeholder interests. This disciplined framework helps ensure that engagement activities remain purposeful, accountable, and capable of generating meaningful results for both investors and investee companies. The first stage involves setting clear engagement goals and priorities. Investors identify material concerns related to governance, environmental management, social performance, strategy execution, or disclosure practices. Objectives may include improving board independence, strengthening climate risk reporting, enhancing workforce diversity, reducing emissions, improving supply chain oversight, or increasing transparency. Effective goals are typically specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Prioritization is important because investors often manage large portfolios and limited stewardship resources. By focusing on issues that are financially material and strategically significant, investors can allocate resources more effectively and maximize the impact of engagement activities. A key strategy within goal-based engagement is direct company engagement, which involves regular communication with management teams, board members, and relevant corporate representatives. Investors use meetings, conference calls, written correspondence, site visits, and shareholder discussions to communicate expectations and gather information. Constructive dialogue allows investors to understand company perspectives while encouraging improvements in identified areas. Direct engagement is often most effective when relationships are collaborative, evidence-based, and focused on long-term outcomes. Investors typically establish milestones and monitor progress over time, adjusting engagement tactics when necessary to maintain momentum and encourage meaningful organizational change. Another important tactic is collaborative engagement, where multiple investors work together to address shared concerns. Collaborative initiatives increase influence by combining ownership stakes, expertise, and resources. This approach is particularly useful when addressing systemic issues such as climate change, biodiversity loss, human rights concerns, or governance reforms that affect multiple companies or sectors. Investor coalitions, stewardship organizations, and industry initiatives frequently coordinate collaborative engagements. Through collective action, investors can communicate stronger expectations and encourage broader market improvements. Collaborative engagement also promotes knowledge sharing and helps smaller investors participate effectively in stewardship activities that might otherwise exceed their individual resources. Goal-based engagement often incorporates escalation strategies when companies fail to respond adequately to investor concerns. Escalation may involve voting against directors, opposing executive compensation plans, filing shareholder resolutions, making public statements, reducing investment exposure, or ultimately divesting from the company. Escalation is generally applied progressively, beginning with constructive dialogue and advancing only when engagement objectives are not achieved. The purpose is not punitive but rather to reinforce accountability and demonstrate investor commitment to desired outcomes. Effective escalation strategies increase engagement credibility and encourage companies to address material issues before they develop into significant governance, operational, or sustainability risks. Successful goal-based engagement requires continuous monitoring, evaluation, and reporting. Investors assess whether engagement objectives have been achieved by reviewing company actions, disclosures, performance indicators, and governance developments. Measuring outcomes helps determine the effectiveness of engagement strategies and informs future stewardship activities. Transparent reporting also enables clients, beneficiaries, and stakeholders to understand how engagement contributes to investment objectives and responsible ownership practices. By combining clear goals, direct dialogue, collaborative initiatives, escalation mechanisms, and ongoing evaluation, investors can apply a comprehensive range of engagement forms and tactics to influence corporate behavior, strengthen ESG performance, and support sustainable long-term value creation.